Chief, Onome whispered, as she smiled at the man before her, Chief Daddy, watching him with a seductive gaze. "What will it take to get you to sign this form?" she asked, putting her hands on his, licking her lips while emphasizing her point with a coil of her straw. Onome adjusted her blouse slightly, ensuring the top button was undone, enough to reveal a hint of cleavage. She knew Chief Daddy appreciated a confident woman, and she was about to use that to her advantage. Onome sat quietly in the lobby, her mind racing with thoughts of her responsibilities. "I have to secure this job to take care of Mama and Ima," she murmured to herself. Memories flooded back of the challenges she faced since becoming a mother at 14. After a traumatic incident that changed her life forever. She was just a schoolgirl when John, a persistent classmate, assaulted her on her way home from school one evening. John had been trying to date her despite her constant refusal. Onome had cried all the way home to her mother, but John denied ever raping Onome. Her mother had to take the child as her own after his birth, which allowed Onome to go to the neighboring village school, where she could avoid wagging tongues. Despite the turmoil that followed, Onome found solace in her mother's unwavering support until she finally moved to the city to further her education. Life was never easy for Onome. She did any job, including debt picking, to further her education and sent what she could to Mama for upkeep. Onome was the only child, born to her poor parents. Her father, a palm wine tapper who tragically fell from a palm tree when Onome was only 2 years old, leaving her mother widowed at a young age. Despite pressure from her father's brothers, Onome's mother refused to marry any of them, but was left with nothing from her husband's property. Next, a voice called, startling Onome. She looked up to see the chubby lady who had entered a couple of minutes ago, crying as she walked out. It was now Onome's turn to enter the interview room. "I have to get this job," Onome concluded in her head, as she elegantly walked side by side with the announcer. As she entered the interview room, she was met with a stern-looking woman who eyed her from head to toe, her gaze calculative like a hawk watching its prey. Onome stood waiting to be asked to sit, observing the woman in return. "Sit," the woman instructed sternly. Onome walked over to the chair facing the woman and sat down. All the confidence she had gathered to come here vanished as she realized her thighs had begun to shake. She tried steadying herself as she waited for the woman to speak. After some time, the woman's demeanor suddenly softened towards Onome. "Beautiful lady," she began. "My name is Beatrice, and I'm the manager of this company. I will be interviewing you." Onome quickly introduced herself with a smile as she pulled out her credentials, though the woman didn't even glance at them. "You have the job," Beatrice said abruptly, returning the file to Onome with a sly smile. "You will be given a monthly target to secure clients worth 5 million naira. This will determine if you continue to work here. If you secure a target without fail, the sky will be your limit," she added, smiling at Onome. Time felt frozen for Onome as she watched Beatrice's lips move, repeating 5 million, 5 million, as if in a trance. Where would she find clients willing to sign such high-value contracts every month? She had to find a way. She had Mama and Ima to feed. This job was an answer to her prayers. "Any problem?" Beatrice's voice pulled Onome out of her trance. "No, ma'am," Onome replied quickly. "How often am I to come to work?" she asked. "Once a week for meetings. The other days, you are expected to be out getting clients." Onome left the room as the announcer directed her to a new room where the new employees waited to be addressed. As she sat down, she looked at the attractive faces around her. If she didn't know the kind of job she came for, she would have assumed it was a model convention. Soon, Madame Beatrice walked into the room. Her expensive perfume filled the air as she walked, exuding an aura of elegance with every step. "You cannot achieve what I have in a short period of time," she said with a smile. "But you have to be willing to do what it takes to secure your target." The entire day, she taught the new recruits strategies to acquire clients, including the seduction technique. The male recruits were no exception. "Chief," Onome whispered as she smiled at the man before her, Chief Daddy, watching him with a seductive gaze. "What will it take to get you to sign this form?" she asked, putting her hands on his, licking her lips, while emphasizing her point with the coil of her straw. Onome adjusted her blouse slightly, ensuring the top button was undone, enough to reveal a hint of cleavage. She knew Chief Tade appreciated a confident woman, and she was about to use that to her advantage. "Chief," she purred, leaning slightly forward as she handed him the contract. Her perfume, a delicate blend of jasmine and sandalwood, lingered in the air around them. "What will it take to get you to sign this form?" Her voice was smooth, calculated to charm. Chief Tade, a seasoned businessman with a reputation for being both shrewd and appreciative of beauty, looked up from the document. His eyes briefly flickered to Onome's exposed neckline. Before meeting her gaze, he seemed taken aback by her direct approach, but was not entirely displeased. "Onome," he began in a low voice, his eyes lingering on her. "You are quite the negotiator." His tone was playful, yet there was an underlying intensity that set a shiver down Onome's spine. She maintained eye contact, her expression a mix of professionalism and subtle allure. "I'm sure we can find a mutually beneficial arrangement," Onome continued smoothly, hand resting lightly on Chief Tade's arm. She could feel his pulse quicken slightly under her touch, a sign that her strategy was working. Chief Tade hesitated for a minute, his gaze wavering between the contract and Onome's face. Then, with a faint smile playing on his lips, he reached for a pen. "Let's discuss these terms over dinner tonight," he suggested, his voice low yet decisive. Onome's heart raised with triumph. She had secured the deal, not just through her skills, but also by leveraging her charm and confidence. As Chief Tade signed the contract, she maintained her composed demeanor, inwardly celebrating another successful negotiation. Later that evening, over a candlelit dinner at a posh restaurant, Onome and Chief Tade finalized the details of their arrangement. He seemed captivated by her wit and elegance, and she deftly steered the conversation while subtly hinting at their potential for a more personal connection. By the end of the evening, Chief Tade was visibly impressed by Onome's professionalism and intrigued by her magnetic personality. He expressed his admiration for her determination and promised to recommend her services to his colleagues in the industry. As Onome returned home that night, she reflected on the power of charm and confidence in her line of work. Seducing clients was not just about physical allure, it was about understanding their needs, building rapport, and closing deals with finesse. She knew that each successful negotiation brought her closer to her goals of providing a better life for Mama, Ima, and herself. With a sense of satisfaction and anticipation for future challenges, Onome prepared for bed, knowing that tomorrow would bring new opportunities and potential clients to win over, one negotiation at a time. Soon, Onome had moved from a small one-room apartment to a fully furnished house, just 3 months with Madame Beatrice, and she had already won the Employee of the Month, bringing her more perks. Onome decided to visit her mother in the village, feeling financially secure enough to bring Ima and Mama to live with her. Soon, her house became a home, filled with the laughter of her loved ones, although her mother had no idea of the heights Onome had climbed to achieve her success. One day, as Onome sat in the office of a potential client, Charles, a self-made millionaire in the tech field, at just 28 years old, he surprised her with a straightforward approach. "Where's your form?" he asked, smiling as he stretched his hands forward to collect it from Onome's hands. His professionalism caught her off guard. She expected him to make sexual advances. Charles signed a contract worth 10 million naira, relieving Onome of the stress to meet her target for the rest of the month. A couple of days later, Onome received a call as she was preparing for bed. "Hi, this is Charles from T&T Holdings," he said. Surprised and worried that he had changed his mind, Onome was silent. "Are you there, Miss Onome?" he asked. "I am here, sir." "How can I help you?" she replied. "I have not been able to stop thinking about you," Charles whispered into the phone. Immediately, Onome's face fell. They are all the same, she thought. They agreed to meet again at a restaurant the next day. Pierre Onome was pleasantly surprised by how comfortable Charles made her feel. "I would really like to get to know you," he said. Onome declined, but over time, Charles refused to give up. One Saturday afternoon, as rain poured, Onome, her mother, and son were having hot chocolate while watching TV when the doorbell rang. As she went to check, she found Charles soaked in the rain. "I love you, Onome," he said. "These weeks since I've known you have been beautiful, and I want to know you not just as a friend, but as a man and his woman." "I am not who you think I am," Onome whispered as tears welled up on her face. Charles pulled her into his embrace, hugging her. "I know about your job and your son. I still want you, Onome." Onome stood frozen at the door, raindrops clinging to Charles' dark hair and drenched clothes. His words echoed in her mind, mingling with the patter of rain outside. "I love you, Onome," he had said. She felt her heart ache with a mix of fear and longing. How could he say that after learning about her past and her unconventional job? "Come inside," she finally managed, her voice barely a whisper. Charles stepped into the warmth of her home, his presence filling the room with the intensity that made Onome's heart race. Emma, engrossed in the TV, looked up curiously at the unfamiliar guest. As they sat together in the living room, Onome recounted her journey, her struggles, and the sacrifices she had made for Emma and Mama. Charles listened attentively, his expression softening with each word. He reached out to hold her hand, his touch comforting yet electric. "I know you're not perfect, Onome," Charles began gently, "but neither am I. What matters is who you are now and what we can be together." Onome gazed into his eyes, seeing sincerity and warmth that melted her defenses. She had never imagined someone like Charles could understand her, let alone accept her past so readily. Yet here he was, offering his heart despite knowing everything. Days turned into weeks, and Charles proved to be a constant presence in Onome's life. The shared dinners, quiet moments in the park, and conversations that spanned from dreams to fear. Emma adored him, seeing him as a father figure he had always wished for. One evening, under a sky painted with hues of orange and pink, Charles took Onome by surprise. He led her to a secluded spot overlooking the city, where he had set up a picnic with Emma's and Mama's help. Soft music played in the background, a reflection of the tenderness in his eyes as he spoke. "Onome, you've changed my life in ways I have never imagined," Charles began, his voice earnest. "You've shown me what it means to love unconditionally, to fight for what's important, and to cherish every moment. Will you do me the honor of being my partner, not just in this picnic, but in life?" Tears welled up in Onome's eyes as she nodded, unable to find words amidst the rush of emotions. Charles slipped a ring onto her finger, a symbol of his commitment and love. Emma squealed with joy, clapping his hands as he hugged them both tightly. In the weeks that followed, Preparation for their wedding filled their lives with excitement and anticipation. Mama, beaming with pride, blessed their union with heartfelt prayers and traditional blessings. Ima, now looking forward to having a complete family, helped with every detail, from choosing flowers to tasting cakes. On their wedding day, surrounded by loved ones, Onome walked down the aisle, radiant in a gown that shimmered with the morning dew. Charles waited at the altar, his eyes locked on her with unwavering devotion, as they exchanged vows, promising to support each other through every storm and trial. Thanks for watching, guys. Onome's story underscores the danger of compromising one's values for short-term gain. Our journey reminds us that our past doesn't dictate our future. Redemption is always possible. I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I enjoyed making it. Please like, share and subscribe, and please take a second to leave a positive comment. Go to check other videos because I'm sure you'll find something else you like apart from this story. And as always, see you in my next video, bestie. Bye.